At this point, we'll return to the City of Menasha Common Council. We're on item P, action items. The first is the recommendation for the Board of Public Works to authorize and execute the relocation order for the 3rd Street Bridge project. Do we have a motion? Alderman Keehan, sorry.
Thank you. Make a motion to approve the recommendation from the Board of Public Works, authorization to execute relocation order for 3rd Street Bridge project.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Alderman Benner?
We're suspending the rules for this?
We don't need to suspend the rules for this. No, it's not an ordinance or anything like that, so we don't need to suspend the rules.
Oh, okay.
We just needed to get started on the real estate for this, and being that it was a project we've spoken about a lot, we thought it was okay to get it through in one night.
No, I understand that, and I know we did talk about it a lot, but just it's unusual that we'll have something on a committee and then go straight to the council, because usually we want it simmer for 2 weeks. So.
Exactly. And if the council doesn't feel comfortable with that, we can wait, but it may delay the project.
No,
so
it's fine. I just want to make sure I'm sure we're doing the right thing, but I wanted to make sure in my own mind. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Is
there any dollar amounts that we should be aware of here?
There were dollars in the budget, and I don't remember exactly what those were, but they were budgeted. It was not a huge amount of money.
Until the acquisition of property, you don't know the exact amount.
Yeah, but I think we budgeted under, was it, Greg, do you remember, was there like 10 grand in there?
We're just buying slivers here, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item 2 is Resolution 40, and it's a resolution inviting the town of Menasha to mediate boundary issues. Attorney Captain, did you want to start out with this?
Sure. As you're aware, there's a portion of the town of Menasha that has a petition for incorporation pending, and to become a village. That would be the village of Fox Crossing. The city of Menasha did adopt a resolution indicating a willingness to annex that portion that was proposed for incorporation, which is the west side. We have also been a party in interest, that's what it's called, in the Winnebago County case, because a petition does get filed with a circuit court, and then there's a certain process that it goes through. And once a petition meets certain basic criteria, it gets referred to the Wisconsin Department of Administration. And there is a board, which is called the Incorporation Review Board, that it's that board's duty to look at the submittal in support of the incorporation, which addresses a whole series of factors. And each one of these factors has to be met in order for the Incorporation Review Board to approve an incorporation. There was a meeting that was held at the town, you and I went, Greg, at the town municipal building, thank you. And that was August or something, I think it was, July or August. Greg and I had attended, and then there most recently was a meeting on December 15th. This one was in Madison. The mayor and Greg Kyle and me went and had attended that meeting. What we heard was the Incorporation Review Board went through and looked at the submittal and anything that was provided in opposition to the incorporation, which the city of Menasha, we did provide some a submittal in opposition to the incorporation. And there were some primary factors that we addressed were related to the viability of the town remnant and the impact of an incorporation on the east side, or, well, it was primarily the east side, but what is the impact of an incorporation of the west side on the metropolitan community? And that metropolitan community, you know, includes the city of Menasha, city of Appleton, Neenah, et cetera. And so, if anyone is aware of the town of Menasha's boundaries currently on the east side, you know that there's a lot of islands, and the boundaries are irregular. And there have been discussions, I know the mayor had approached the town board chair,
As well as the incorporation committee chair.
yes. Anyways, what this is it's indicating to the town of Menasha, I thought it would be important if something actually came from the Common Council. We've had this discussion before about, you know, the east side and the boundaries, et cetera. But in looking at, because of some of the submittals that the town board or the petition contained, indicating that the town has attempted to resolve with us, you know, there obviously is some mix-up here, because we don't have a resolution to all of those islands and those irregular boundaries. And so if something formal actually went to the town saying, okay, here's what we're talking about. We saw it in your submittal. We are on board. As part of the incorporation process, there is an ability for the parties to, and I know I had perhaps mentioned this to the Common Council before, there is an ability for the parties to stay proceedings, to allow them to try and work out some of the boundary issues or matters between parties. And that is what this is about. Saying, okay, town of Menasha, here we are. Before any petition for incorporation is approved, these boundaries, we need to talk about them, and we need to work something out. They cannot be left as they are. And we all know there is a boundary agreement currently in place with the town, which is the end of 2017? 18. End of 18? End of 17, I think it is, that it expires. And that time, we all know how fast time flies. That goes by in a heartbeat. So that's what this is about. I can take any questions if you have them.
Alderman Nichols?
Thank
Sorry.
you, Mr. Mayor. Attorney Captain, you mentioned that there was a hearing on the 15th in front of the Incorporation Review Board. And you also mentioned what the city's concerns are regarding the incorporation. Can you address here what happened at that incorporation meeting? Is the incorporation board on board with the incorporation process?
And of course, this is just my impression of being at the meeting. But what the Incorporation Review Board did is it went through all of the factors. There's a number of factors, 7? I forgot exactly how many there are. There's a number of factors that need to be met. These are statutory factors. And they went through each one of them and looked at what they currently have as it relates to submittals in favor of the incorporation, addressing those specific factors, and things that were submitted that, in opposition to meeting those factors. And so if they talked amongst themselves, gave a number of opinions, the parties in interest, which would be the city of Menasha, were allowed to speak. We just had to raise our hand, so as discussions occurred, we were able to provide some comment on the standards. And the petitioner's attorney was also able to do that. Some of the town board members, as I recall, did provide some comment as well, as each of those factors were reviewed. And I think I did indicate in the resolution, it was my impression that the Incorporation Review Board was particularly concerned with the islands and the irregular boundaries on the east side of the town of Menasha, its impact on the metropolitan community that mostly impacts the city of Menasha, and in addition to that, the city of Appleton, because they're up in that corner as well. And so, the last two factors that they addressed, the second to last factor was the viability of the town island, so the ability of the town island to,
Function as a community.
to function as a community, to provide the services to its residents that have been provided, that they're used to having been provided. Are they going to be able to do that, and what's going to be the impact on the taxes, et cetera? And there was discussion on that factor. The city of Menasha provided input on that, and are concerned that we read in the submittal by the petitioners that there would be some kind of a subsidy in order from the west side in order to keep the east side at the same tax rate and able to provide the same services that have been provided in the past. I know there was some comments from some of the members on the Incorporation Review Board that they didn't necessarily have the numbers specific numbers to look at, as I recall. But the final factor, which is the impact on the metropolitan community, the city of Menasha, provided input on that, and we, as I mentioned to you, had already provided something in writing to that extent. That has a huge impact on us if the west side would incorporate, and all of a sudden there's two entities here, and what happens with all of those islands? How do they get served? There's declining infrastructure. The largest number of residents, density, I guess is what you would call it, the densest part of the town of Menasha is on the east side in a smaller area. And what's going to happen with that? We don't have there isn't a plan in place to address what happens with those islands and all of those irregular boundaries. Take a look at our boundaries, and we see what happened as it related to the Harrison Incorporation. And then Harrison went in, did some annexations and created a city of Menasha Island where there wasn't one before. So, all of those things. Do you have any other comments?
So they did talk about Kenosha, where Kenosha had worked out I don't know if it was mediated, but a plan for those islands that at a date certain, all those islands would go into the city of Kenosha, the town of Summer, you said?
No, I said go somewhere.
Oh, okay. But they would go into the city of Kenosha at a date certain as part of this incorporation agreement for that township. A little bit of history here. We have had discussions with the town of Menasha probably since really close to the time that Attorney Captain started. We met with their attorneys, and the solution has always been for the city of Menasha to trade high-value, low-service areas of the city in exchange for low-value, high-service areas of the town, and that would even out the borders. They were particularly looking at the Northridge Heights area as something that would be detached from the city, and we would attach some of the areas around Maplewood or around the quarry to try to even out some of those borders in the town, which was never acceptable to us as a community. So we've had those discussions, but that's as far as they ever got. And we do have concerns if those islands are not able to sustain themselves, or if the tax rate goes up, or if they are unable to redevelop those areas, that they'll become more and more blighted, and that blight then will continue out into the city of Menasha or into the city of Appleton as well. And we think that could have some detrimental impacts on the greater metropolitan community. So we would like, one of the remedies that we have is the DOA has facilitators and mediators that will sit down with groups like us and work out a settlement as part of this that hopefully will leave us all a little bit unhappy, and it'll be a good agreement then. But we think staying the incorporation and working out this boundary so that in the long haul we're all better off is the right thing to do, and we'd like to invite the current town of Menasha to do that with us, and that's what this resolution anticipates. Attorney Captain?
And I was just going to mention, I would also be contacting the city of Appleton to see if they have any input or would want to be a part or anything as it relates to this. I just didn't have an opportunity to call them yet.
By the way, I did forward this to Jeff Sturgill, the town administrator. I didn't hear back from him. I'm not sure exactly why I didn't hear back from him, but he may not have gotten it, but we did forward it to them. Did you have more questions?
I did. I just want to be sure on what I'm hearing tonight. So at the hearing in Madison, the city expressed their concerns about the incorporation. The town provided some mechanisms on how they would alleviate those. But am I hearing that a decision by the DOA board to move forward has not happened yet? Is that what I'm hearing?
Attorney Captain?
Correct. What the process is, this hearing, they went over and discussed, like I said, a number of the factors. They are taking additional comments, written comments, or any evidence that we wish to provide until January 2nd was the date that I heard. It'll be sometime after that then that they would be, I'm assuming they'd have another meeting that would be scheduled, and then deliberate some more or make a decision. It comes out in writing.
And then there would be an election after that if they're recommending incorporation.
Okay. Thank you. I'll see if there are any more questions.
Alderman Keehan?
I was just going to make a motion if that's...
It's fine if you'd like to do that. We can continue
Okay.
discussing afterwards if there's
Make-
more discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve R 4015, resolution inviting town of Menasha to mediate boundary issues.
There's a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Alderman Zelinski?
Thank you. Pam, have you discussed any of this with the city of Appleton? Because they're going to be greatly affected on the far east side, where most of the apartment buildings and stuff are.
Oh, I'm sorry. I watch your light go on and I assume you're going to speak. Attorney Captain?
We were in touch with the city of Menasha, city of Appleton a year or so ago? Or when was it?
At some point, I don't remember exactly
We
the
have
date.
talked to them on and they, had indicated that that they would be affected as well. They have not been participating, and I can't respond for them as to why they were not participating in the process, other than they did appear as a party of interest, but just did not submit anything. City of Menasha submitted something, but the City of Appleton did not. But I do, yeah, if this would be approved, that would be one of my calls, would be to the City of Appleton as well.
I know this is kind of early, but do you have some kind of preliminary plans or sketches out there, what properties to square off and what islands you want to eliminate? Or is this too early to discuss that?
We don't have anything like that that could be discussed in open session, but there are, what, approximately 6 or 7 town islands currently, maybe more. Yeah.
And this will be forwarded on, or, like you said, it's gonna be, it was already sent to the town of Menasha. Did you send it to Appleton also, the resolution, if it get passed?
We will, yes.
Okay.
And we'll send it to the town if it does pass as well, again, telling them that it did pass at this point.
I think it's a good thing to open up to some discussion. I know you gotta do something about it.
Oh, Attorney Captain?
I was just going to mention, and I did approach the attorney right after the Incorporation Review Board hearing, and I didn't get a real good response, which is why then I had talked to the mayor and mentioned something about perhaps, you know, we need to get this into the right hands, actually send it to the town board, the people who are, you know, it's city council, town board, that's who's really working on these issues.
Further discussion? If not, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
I don't know if we need a closed session. I don't believe we do. No? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Broadcasts of the City of Menasha Administration Committee, Board of Public Works, and Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Menasha residents and interested parties can obtain information about these meetings and meeting agendas from the city website, www.cityofmenasha-wi.gov. Expression of opinions regarding City of Menasha issues or about these broadcasts can be made by contacting the Mayor's Office, 920-967-5117. Contacting their city alderman. Contact information appears on the website. Completing the electronic feedback form on the website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.